Hello, TC family. Welcome to season 6. We're keeping it rolling. We're getting better. Thank you guys for supporting us so far. My name is Benita G. I am your host. Welcome to the family. I am excited because look, every time we get better and better and we vet the best to come on and have a conversation with us about education. I forgot to practice his name. Do not get me. Let me see if I can get it right. And if not, everybody has the option to correct me because that's what you're supposed to do because it's your name. Oh, goodness. Temante.
That's close. Temante.
Temante. I put too many syllables in there.
Yeah.
You had an extra syllable. Leary.
Yep.
Now, we have Black educators. We're always going to bring on Black male educators because all of a sudden people are like, where are they? For some reason, they keep coming on the podcast. But he is an anomaly for real. He is a Black male in tech. And I know you're like, oh my goodness, Benita. We always have Black women in tech because we know we need to boost that. But we also need to boost our Black men in tech. And he is doing the doggone thing for those of you who are country like me. So welcome to the Education Concierge Podcast. This is what we do. I'm a good old country girl from rural Virginia. Shout out Lawrenceville and the Bulldogs. When you come over our house, we're going to talk about that because he's from North Carolina, y'all. So we got to go. When you come over the house, you can make your plate the third time. Okay, so I'm going to make the plate today. I'm going to bring you sweet tea because that's what Southern women do. But 2 more times you come on the podcast, you are a guest right now. But when you become family, we'll let you know. So, family, we're going to clap it up at your house and in your car quietly. And we're going to let him introduce himself and welcome him to the TEC family.
Thank you for that pre-introduction. My name is Temante Leary. Some will call me Dr. Leary, depending on, especially if we're talking about the education setting and my students, as I am an adjunct professor at Miami-Dade College in the School of Business at the Hialeah campus. Been there since 2014. And I've taught, also being a lawyer, I've taught a lot of business law courses, a lot of management courses, leadership courses at Miami-Dade College and other institutions. Currently, I am the lead for Blacks at Microsoft, Miami, South Florida. I'm a content developer at Microsoft by day. I, in my role, create content for our customers around our Microsoft 365 products to help them better use and adopt our M365 products into their personal and work lives, and also to educate them about those products. That content ranges from online documentation to YouTube videos. I'm also the founder of BIPOC, Black Innovation Technology Entertainment Conference, which is what BIPOC stands for. We have a lot going on as I've recently launched our foundation this year. And so far we have some things coming down the pipe that are in the near future. I'll go ahead and say we have a partnership with 4Geeks Academy. Currently, we have monthly workshops on their campus for the community to come and learn about aspects of Web3 technology. We have a workshop coming up on the 27th of this month, again on the campus of 4Geeks Academy, which is going to be a workshop focused on AI for beginners. And specifically, we have content for educators, how educators can use AI in a variety of different ways, obviously in the classroom, outside of the classroom with their students, from lesson planning and all things in between and beyond. So it's going to focus on not only tools that educators can use, but that professionals can use in their personal and professional lives at this workshop. It is free. Again, on the 27th of this month, which is a Thursday, from 6 to 8 p.m. at 4 Geeks Academy in Brickell, Miami. And you can register for the event on our social media, or you can go to our Instagram. Our website will also have in the coming, it's actually getting some work done, but website will also have a place for you to register as well. And yeah, we're excited about that, and hope to see a good turnout.
So I'm gonna stop because we're gonna put that in the show notes so everybody, and then we'll connect it with our Instagram when we post it. And if you missed this one, trust me, every time I turn around, I'm on the Get Right. So every time I turn around, there is something new and different. But I want to talk about your journey because you said some stuff that I knew, but I was like, wait, how does it all play in? So I knew you were a professor at the college. I knew you had a JD, but I didn't know, like, did you practice law? And how does that transition, like, realistically? How did you transition into Microsoft? Like, because you're not even in Microsoft, like, law department. You are literally making quick content that we engage with on a daily basis to become better users of Microsoft. So how did that transition work?
Yeah, so I, soon after graduating from law school, got into the education space. I told you I've been an adjunct professor at Miami-Dade College for quite some time, since 2014. But I actually got my start in the education space, and specifically higher education, in 2011. So I have, I soon after graduating in 2009, I had the opportunity to work at several law firms, mostly in the real estate law arena, and having a JD MBA, a joint degree, which I pursued which I graduated from with my joint degree, I should say, from St. Thomas University, proved to be very marketable and very in demand.
Okay.
When I came out of around the time I came out of law school in the education space, it allowed me to teach a variety of different curricula. So I was able to teach. The law degree allowed me to teach, paralegal studies, criminal justice courses, which, these are really big programs at any institution. And, courses related to, obviously, me being a lawyer and preparing other students to be, legal in the legal field, whether they be paralegals, whether they be attorneys. This also kept me close to my discipline without having to practice, kept me still as an SME, without necessarily, again, having to practice. I'm preparing students to be future attorneys, future paralegals, future legal professionals. Also, something that's very rewarding for me as well. So, I also, again, having a joint degree led me into the School of Business at Miami-Dade College a few years after I started teaching. In 2011, I started at Miami-Dade College in 2014, as I mentioned earlier, and I've been there ever since. I'm trying to find more time to teach again, because since COVID and all the transitions that happened with an education period, I haven't been able to get into the classroom between being so busy with Microsoft and my other ventures. But hopefully I'll be able to get a class or two coming up in the coming months. And, but I am still on the roster, and I am still a proud, adjunct at MDC. So to answer your question, why emphasize education to lead into the answer to your question is because Microsoft has a heavy focus on education, has a heavy focus on EDU. We always have, and it was no different when I came across a role that was posted for an education expert, which lets you know how, again, I'm very focused on education, all aspects, K-12 and higher ed. Essentially, this was when our stores were open, and the goal was for each store to have an education expert, someone to specifically be hyper focused on engaging our EDU customers. You know, aside from anyone else that you would go to in a store. So you, the teacher, like, would be looking for me had it been a few years ago when our stores open, or anybody in EDU, because we're, there's a certain level of subject matter expertise when it comes to education technology and how to use it and integrate it to your classroom. Actually, we were considered the SME, right? The subject matter expert, as well as the person responsible for engaging decision makers about using Microsoft's technology, right? And especially during COVID, and how to shift and pivot from into the COVID environment that we had to pivot to for education. Essentially, everything going online, fully online because of the pandemic.
So here's the question.
Yeah.
Were you always into computers? Were you always into Microsoft? Were you always?
So I skipped a couple things that are pretty important. Between, I should say, after graduating law school and after being in the education space for about 5-6 years, I became an ed tech founder. I became an ed tech founder of a company called Class Updates, which was an app that connected teachers and students using push notification technology. And I was largely a professor / founder / trying to get my colleagues to use Class Updates in their classroom, and trying to get Miami-Dade College and every school that I could to adopt using the application to communicate between teachers and students. And we had a good run. I sunsetted last year.
Okay.
But connecting the dots, when the role came up for the education expert role, I checked all the boxes, right? Yeah. Not only because I had a doctorate, I had the term, I exceeded all the boxes, right? Like they had what they were looking for minimum. And then of course, which was, like a bachelor's degree, and, having, obviously experience working in education technology and working in higher ed. Here I am, this was in 2019 when I applied. So at that time I had nearly a decade of I started in 2011. So I had nearly a decade of experience, literally 9 years of experience in education, right? If you're going to stack me up against who was applying for the role, right? Right. I had 9 years of education, of experience as an adjunct in higher education, mind you, I didn't mention before, I have taught every level. So I've taught associate's degree students, bachelor's degree students, and master's. I've taught every level except doctorate because I have my doctorate. And technically I could teach doctorate level.
Right.
If I wanted to, right? I could teach at law school, at a law school if I wanted to. But so far, I have taught every level except for the doctorate degree level. I taught at Grand Canyon University for almost 5 years. So there, I had entire master's degree courses that I was teaching there in the legal, in the legal arena. The crazy thing is, my students were teachers. They were taking my course. They were taking my American. They had to take constitutional law. They had to learn about our Constitution, and obviously, we can have a whole nother and probably should have a whole other podcast on why teachers need to know our Constitution, right? And why they need to know, right? why it's applicable to public, right? That's a whole nother, that's the lawyer in me, but obviously that was the value I brought to being a professor, that I had to be a lawyer to teach that class, right? Yes. So So having been had to have a JD, Jewish doctorate to teach that course. So that, if we're going to talk about that role, it's not going to be too many people with a JD that had the passion for law like I do. Like I love teaching constitutional law. So
this is my question.
And then I should say the combination of, not to cut you, but the combination of when I had applied for the role at Grand Canyon, I had already taught for about 5 years, several years. Again, like I told you, in paralegal studies programs. So I was a real strong candidate for that. I'm sure they had other lawyers, but not other ones that had like 3 or 4 years teaching experience.
And
so connecting all the dots.
Yeah.
When it came time, when I saw the role for education expert at Microsoft, it's like the role jumped out it jumped out of the screen. Like, to me, I was like, sometimes when you're job searching, and even I wasn't even really looking, but I was kind of looking, but you see something like, wow, this is perfect. And I just felt it. I was like, man, this is for me. And I applied, and the rest is history. Like, I asked my manager at that time, I was like, why did you choose me because there was a ton of applicants, as you could imagine, any role at Microsoft. And he was like, essentially nobody was messing with you when it came to, all the things that I just mentioned. Like, it was kind of easy to, it was kind of easy. I was just like, wow, thank you. And, the rest is history. I can talk about how I got, that's how I started at Microsoft. There's a lot in the last 4 years. I'll be coming up on my 4-year anniversary next month, and I'll post about that. Thank you. And I'm really excited about that. I clearly started in the retail space, and we're talking about education, so I was the one that was responsible for, you wouldn't see me if you came in the store, but maybe, we had our office in the back, right? So that's where I'm in the back making calls to decision makers at these schools that are literally the ones who control the budgets, right? Because I'm calling about devices, I'm calling about our licenses for the students, for the teachers. I'm calling about, doing our our MIE training, Microsoft Innovative Educator, all of the stuff that, I have to go through decision makers because it's, I have to get it on the calendar, and, a lot of it is connected to like big money, right? We're trying to sell your school, 100 devices. That's going to be a 6-figure tab, right? Like, even if each one's $1,000, $100,000, right? And if you get an EDU, even if we get the discount for EDU, it's still going to be, right? So I'm talking to the people, that are pulling in the same thing with higher education, so who are those people? That's everything from the school principals to the college presidents to the to the deans and department chairs, to, you know, everyone in between that is, you know, has a decision in either what technology they're going to use, how much they're going to spend, and what they need. And so, of course, I was in a space where I'm competing with, you know, Apple and Google,
Yes.
right, for market share for our education customers. And, you know, I mentioned like, oh, if you came in the store, you wouldn't see me because I wasn't a seller. I wasn't responsible for selling, but I would. I was considered like a middle manager. So I would go out on the floor for maybe like an hour a day to either engage with the EDU customer who I might have an appointment with, or to host a workshop. You know, we would do a lot of in-store field trips with the students, or to sell, right? But I didn't have a quota, and I actually was decent when the little time I was out there. I would be able to sell stuff just because, you know, my first job I ever had was working at McDonald's, and soon after that, I was working at, you know, Rack Room Shoes, then Blockbuster Video, and then working at YMCA summer camp. Yeah, I was doing. Yeah, I know. I should have kept all my stuff from that, but my point is, I started in customer facing roles. I didn't start on the computer. I started in front of people, like selling, like taking orders. So for me, it was, you know, I'm a natural just people person, which is why I could sell, you know, but I wasn't responsible for it. What I was responsible for, again, was making a whole bunch of calls. I had a defined territory that I was responsible for everything K-12 and higher ed,
Wow.
and public and private and charter, because we got to include all of those, and daycare.
Yes.
But we would have a cutoff for daycare because we realized 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, they're not using tech like that, right? And neither is the you know, the principal of the school. You know, they're not there yet. But you know, in the cases where they would start at K or start at pre all the way up, you know, we're you know, Montessori, Catholic, everything. So I'm rambling a little bit, but that's how I started, and I started in a retail role. Fast forward to COVID, all stores closed, all 85 stores in the country closed. And anyone who's familiar with or been following us knows about that. Especially educators who used to bring their students into the stores for all the stuff we used to do with students. And a lot of educators, especially right after it happened, are really sad about, you know, not having the opportunity to be able to do that anymore. And people still miss it, right?
Yes.
But they're, you know, stores are gone. However, you know, we pivoted to doing everything. Even before I got promoted, I was still in that role. So we pivoted to being able to do everything in person, online.
Yes.
We literally took and became really the blueprint for almost the rest of the world of what modern work, hybrid work, how to pivot your whole entire business, in our case, the largest software company in the world, to basically a remote workforce and still have success. And so we were still doing customer trainings. We were still doing everything that we were doing in the store. We just pivoted to an online format. With that,
here's my question. I'm gonna stop right because you're talking about pivoting. Did you see new educators who had never engaged before coming to events, coming to the online Zooms, coming
because, you know, some of them were required and it was mandatory trainings. Everyone was trying to figure out how to, I mean, think about it. Let's not forget the entire education industry. I used to post a lot about it. I used to write the entire EDU industry, and I forgot, I think it's a $2 billion.
Yes.
I forgot. That's what stands out. I'm just going to say that. But the entire $2 billion, and maybe more, EDU industry overnight, not phased, not gradually, but literally, you're on lock, you're on quarantine. This student tested positive. I mean, we're talking about from all the way up, faculty, staff, the entire industry. I've never seen anything like it. Go entirely remote. Like there were other industries that had to pivot. I mean, you know, obviously you talk about gyms, but we talking about EDU, and that's the space we're in. And it didn't matter what you were, what level you were in. It didn't matter whether you were preschool, it didn't matter whether you were grad school or anything in between. Everything shut down for a period of time. And I just told you that's kind of took me out of the classroom at MDC, kind of took me out of the rotation. Right. I did do a couple online courses because I had no choice. And then we could talk about how I got promoted, and, you know, I've been pretty busy since.
You were talking about quarantine, and I was thinking I was here in Miami during COVID teaching, and I remember I was walking up to my principal's office. It was my planning. Left my classroom, walking up to the principal's office to say something to him or ask for something. And I walk in, and the secretary's like, "Oh, we're about to call you." So that's never a good thing, because I'm like, I'm in trouble again because I stayed in trouble.
Yeah, okay. What happened now? What did I do now? Yeah.
Right, it's for the kids. And so when I walked in, I'll never forget, he was like, so he's like, "Don't come in my office." I was like, "Well, wait, excuse me." He's like, "Yeah, I need you to go home, go get your stuff. You had about 4 kids test positive." And I was like, and literally our entire half of the 8th grade team, because we had 2 parts, A and B, the side I was on, we all got sent home. Like the kids, everything. So
without delay, and don't come back.
Don't come back.
Yeah, don't come back to
And then show us the proof. Like take a picture of it. Send it.
Yeah. And so I was in the midst of a company that's I'm not gonna say doing 2 things, but that's showing the world how to. Well, yeah, we'll say 2 things. That's kind of showing the world at large and creating the blueprint for other organizations and other companies to make that turn the switch off and now you're entirely remote, or flick a switch and now you're entirely remote. But even more so, we were enabling educators in schools to continue to operate, given that they had no choice. Not only but to be entirely virtual, but to also continue to operate, right? And so that's when the whole Teams versus Zoom, and you know, that's another conversation there. But I will say, obviously, I'm Microsoft, I'm Teams all day. But you know, we clearly Teams is a very robust application,
right?
And video and chat is only one of its functions, right?
And
it was always designed to be an application to integrate other applications and have multiple uses. And so the fact that we found ourselves on a grand stage competing for what school is going to use what, right? Are you going to use Zoom? Or are you going to use Teams? Was by accident. We never, you know, because again, our Zoom, so that is their product, is video. All right. For Teams, that's just one of our features.
But I also think, I don't even think, being in education, a lot of times, I know for me personally, the administration said, which one is easier right now? Because we shifted so quickly.
And Teams is by far, I mean, I know I'm going to say pro, but by far a better collaboration tool, again, because of its features. Like Zoom might have connected people better and maybe been more secure in some ways, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, like I'm not gonna. But at first, I mean, I'm not saying, but like now, clearly, you know, we tweaked through all of the different issues, and you know, we all had to learn.
So did everybody.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna say now, clearly, again, there's no. If you're gonna talk about collaboration,
right?
For collaboration, which is what teachers and students have to do, I don't think there's a comparison.
So I don't even think so. For me, it wasn't a debate about what was better. It was about usage. What was the teacher comfortable with?
Yeah.
And so teachers with each other, we were okay with Teams.
Or it was what the district decided they were going to do.
And so some of us,
y'all going to do Zoom or because a lot of it was y'all didn't have a choice.
There it is.
Whatever the district decided, that's what. And I know Miami-Dade was Microsoft.
Right. But it did switch because
what did it switch to? Google?
No, it switched to Zoom and then it integrated. So somebody had to talk to you.
Because you can use Zoom and Teams, right? In every other app, right? Yeah.
But then also because then it went back, like I said, at our school, they were like, "What are you comfortable with in the beginning?" Because we just got to get something.
Well, what is it? Do you know what it is now?
I don't, because I've been gone,
okay. All right.
And I just came back. So I don't know. Like when I was in Memphis, my school was a charter school, and we were a Google school.
Yeah.
And so I used whatever I wanted to use. So it didn't matter. Because I did have students that were not in the building. So I would just make videos for them, kind of like this, or use Loom. And then I was in the videos to them. Okay, we're going to transition because this is good. So thank you for giving us, because I was like, it's 3 different things in here. Tell me how it ties in together.
Yeah.
But that's how it works.
And let me say this, because I want to transition.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things, I think this is a great segue, that I noticed approximately 4 years ago, was all of the Blacks at Microsoft in Miami were participating in Atlanta, Georgia, everything. So like, I remember there was like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was some conversations like, oh, the last time we did this for BAM, it was so lit. It was so fun. Man, I hope we get to do this again. And I was like, where was it? Like, oh yeah, it was in Atlanta. And I was like, why was it in Atlanta? They're like, oh, because there's no BAM Miami. There's no BAM. And I knew then I was going to change it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, y'all are doing everything through Atlanta. And I'm not knocking the AT. I got love for the A. And technically, I'm on the Microsoft Atlanta team. However, I thought that was, given all the other cities, major cities, and most of the states, at least one city has a chapter. In the entire state of Florida, one of the biggest Florida states in the country, didn't have a single. I was like, is it just Miami? They were like, no, there's none up here. I was like, okay. So I me, I wanted to change it right then, but I was like, all right, slow down, rookie. A little more tenure, like, and it was, even my manager kind of was like, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but he was kind of like, basically in so many words, like, wait a little bit before you take that on. Right. And so for the last 8-9 months, me now going into year 4, I have been working to where I successfully with other teammates at Microsoft. We have successfully launched BAM Florida, so we're statewide right now. We don't have enough numbers to do cities yet, but we have officially launched our BAM Florida chapter, and we have regional leads right now. And so, as I mentioned before, I am the lead for BAM Miami, South Florida. We have our first monthly happy hour, our Miami Mingle, coming up on the 28th of this month, on Friday the 28th at Red Rooster Overtown, Red Rooster Miami, or Red Rooster Overtown in downtown Miami, from 4 to 7 p.m. And that's going to be a monthly happy hour that we'll probably have the last Friday of every month. But wanted to share that as well, which is the day after the workshop. Yeah. So if you can't make it, hopefully I'll see y'all at, see folks at both. What you'll get at the happy hour is, a chance to mingle with other professionals, tech professionals, educators. We're in a wave where y'all should be coming out asking questions about AI and making connections with us who are going to be out there. So you can see how you can use AI and ChatGPT and other tools with your students and in the classroom. That's another reason why you should come to the workshop as well. And so looking forward to both of those events. And I'll go ahead and let the cat out the bag, because I want people to have some time to think about it. Like, oh man, I'll have to but we are in partnership. I mentioned the partnership with 4Geeks Academy, but we're expanding components of that partnership, and one of them is we're gonna create a scholarship program for those and who are in the BITECon community, and our followers, our supporters. We'll have a scholarship program for people who are interested to get a coding scholarship to 4Geeks Academy coding school, to learn a coding language and have the opportunity to have a career and a great job in tech with that. After completing the coding school, coding 4Geeks Academy bootcamp. And so we're in talks now. There's actually one of the scholarships is actually active now. We're trying to streamline a way for folks to start who are interested, who meet the criteria to start applying. It's actually through Clark Atlanta University, and it's a $4,000 scholarship. But any student can apply who meets the criteria. It's just Clark Atlanta is sponsoring it. Obviously, it's the HBCU. So immediately, me, I thought about how we could extend the opportunity to the HBCUs here in Florida.
Yes.
And that was before I found out that any student can apply. But I am in talks with 4Geeks to get them to be able to match either all or a portion of that initial 4,000 for Florida HBCUs. So, for example, like FAMU students, Florida Memorial students. Actually, no, we got another scholarship, so I'll get to that in a minute. But FAMU students, Bethune-Cookman students, Edward Waters, they would be able to get that Clark Atlanta University scholarship, and I'm working to get 4Geeks to match another 4,000 on top of that, which would be $8,000 for the HBCU students here in Florida. But I'm really also excited about that we have a couple of other scholarships as well that are focused on Miami-Dade County, or those that have a connection to Miami-Dade County. And one of them is a full ride to the coding school, full tuition, and another one is full tuition plus housing, housing assistance stipend for those who might need it. And so these programs are going to be, these scholarship programs and initiatives are part of our foundation's wider goal to impact the pipeline of 1 million BIPOC and women technologists over the next 5 years.
Tell us the name of the foundation again.
BITECon Foundation.
BITECon.
All
Okay.
right. This, obviously the conference that we have each year is BITECon. Yeah. So I created a foundation as well. And now, instead of just the conference, now we have a foundation, which the conference is one of the aspects of our foundation. It's not, it's obviously I'm sharing the other things that we're doing. So really excited to help impact the software engineering pipeline here locally with 4Geeks Academy. I'm also in talks with, I can't say who, but to hopefully set up where our people who complete the program will get set up with software engineer interview prep. And I say that because there is a big issue with people who go to coding school and get the credential and get the experience, where they get hung up at the interview, because a software engineering interview, and not that I know, but I don't know directly, is different than a traditional interview. And so there's a different level of preparation that I would do with you or any other student. And I've done interview prep, by the way. I've done mock interviews, but even me, myself, as talented as I am, would not be able to effectively prepare a software engineer for an interview because it's so different. And so we hope to get into a partnership with another company who will help us with that.
So this is what I'm hearing. So
we have the students who will be getting their coding school education and learning their desired language to be able to work in technology, and we'll have a program hopefully in place to give them interview prep, so where hopefully they can soon be successful in getting a job, after completing the program.
So this is what I'm hearing. You're within BICON, you're creating another pipeline.
Oh yeah, we like, if you look at it, I mean, we're creating technologists.
Yes.
Yeah, we're creating a pipeline of technologists.
Yes.
Literally. Yeah.
Okay, so
we're trying to create 1 million in the next 5 years and impact the pipeline of 1 million technologists in the next 5 years.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah. One is as just a citizen.
Thank you.
Two, I'm excited because the exposure and the necessity for access. Our kids, a lot of times, it's just access. Like you said, it's just, if I can give you $4,000 and we start here, and then get somebody to match it. And if you come to the workshops and you going into the schools and you going in and saying, look, we want to do a workshop with your students. If you have 50 kids and 5 kids are like, oh my God, this is the career I want. We have gotten those 5 gentlemen, those 5 young ladies, him or her.
Into that pipeline. Yeah.
Into that pipeline,
oh, yeah.
which changes the trajectory of their life. I always tell kids, it's one decision.
Yeah.
One decision that can change, and it's the access and the exposure to something new. Like I can say and tell you now, I've never had a technologist in my class. So now I'm sitting here like, that's jacked up. So like when we used to do career day, we had to change who we're getting in on Teams, who we're bringing in on Zoom, to expose our students and so they can have access. So you're actually developing this pipeline. So here's
and also making it, making sure that the engineers behind these products look like us.
100%.
So, yeah, because that has not, and it's still not the case. Right. So we need folks that reflect our culture and our values and what we, our beliefs and our lives in the products that are created as well. And so, yeah. And so, it's a great level of impact that we're hoping to drive starting. And I'm just excited. I had thoughts about creating the foundation, and I'm gonna make more announcements about it. But as you know, you got to kind of go through some hoops.
Yes.
When you get a foundation, you can't just I got a foundation. So I've actually had it since January, but as far as actually getting things in place and getting everything, and I'm still got a couple of other things that I want to do. And then obviously, it's an ongoing, kind of work in progress, but just getting to the point where we can say, hey, I got a foundation and, we're working on these initiatives and this. I mean, even now you see, I shared about 4 Geeks. I mean, if you go to our website, you will see information about it, whatever. I mean, you can't apply yet because we're working on that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of part of like what I'm saying. Like it's very new. Mm-hmm. And I'm also just glad that things are coming together as far as, my vision for, what the mission for the foundation. And then of course, fully expect the conference to grow.
Yes.
Our annual BICON conference that we have during Miami Tech Month each year. This next year in 2024, unlike the first 2 years, we had it in the middle of the month. We're pushing it back to the end of the month.
What month is
of April.
Okay.
So it'll be the 25th and 26th of April, which is a Thursday, Friday.
Put it on your calendars, y'all.
Yeah, go ahead and put on the calendars now. 10 months out. We expect really that whole week to be.
We normally do it a full week.
Well, the conference will be a couple of days, but we expect that whole week, the majority of the week there to be BITECon conference related events for people to come out and network and get ready for the actual conference that will take place during the week. So more to come, but that is the goal, right? Is to have folks really doing something BITECon the majority of the week, and then of course attending the conference and all the things that we're gonna have.
So I'm just gonna wait on my tickets for my micro school students. We'll be
there.
Let me know. We'll be there. So
You got to bring them. Definitely got to bring them out. Got to bring them out to the conference. I'm trying to, I would like to, how we had it this year, where the students came, during the first part.
Yes.
It was like a field trip, and we around 12 we fed them lunch, and then they were, because school ends around 2, so fed them lunch, and then they were out, and just like a regular school day. And the team was saying like that is something we would like to kind of have, like, make it a field trip. Like, it's during that time, we try to get the attention of the school board or somebody to say, hey, bring your students to BITECon, like as a part of their, whatever field trips that y'all have, like bring them out, and bring them out for that first part, especially at the conference, and then we can curate some specific stuff for them, feed them a nice lunch, and then and then the ones that can't come on day 1 come on day 2, or they come both days. But definitely go ahead and tell your educator network, and I'm trying to get more formal, because I am I'm connected with a lot of the folks, but it's just a matter of kind of organizing it. So I'm gonna continue to push that out, push that. The thing about BITECon is we're big on immersive experiences. So I really plan to have things, like AR, VR technology, and headsets for people to try on and try different experiences, robots to the extent possible. And we had a really awesome, it was called the Bit Basil Proto, which it really, like, you get in front of it and it distorts your image, but it it does it in a really cool way. I mean, stuff that people never seen before, and emerging technology is a big part of BITECon, not just speakers and panels. So that's what this would definitely be able to get. We had a lunch and learn with ChatGPT this year. We had a tour in the metaverse, actually, in the African Museum of the Metaverse. We had the curator, just like a curator of any museum, but the curator for the African Museum of the Metaverse did a whole tour in the metaverse this year. So things like that, some people were saying, man, they really enjoyed that. And, we had a concert in the metaverse as well, with the DJ, performing in the metaverse. So for a lot of people, that was their first time, even hearing about, seeing a performer or a DJ, perform in the metaverse. So that's something else we want to bring back. And I don't want to spill. I don't want to, but
hold on, we're gonna wrap up. We got two more.
Yeah.
So here's the question. I'm an educator.
Yep.
I'm actually now realize that I am a seasoned educator. So I'm one of the old ones, 25 years in. All of the educators with my seasoning do not always like new stuff. I am not like that, because I realize that the children in front of me are new. These are new kids. Their attention span has drastically changed. I started teaching in 1998. We have regular TV, the TV cut off at night.
Mm-hmm.
And so my students' attention span does go with technology. So as technology goes, their
Mm-hmm.
attention span goes. Doesn't mean they're any smarter, doesn't mean they're any lazier. It's just me grabbing their attention as an educator and then getting them involved into the assignments.
Mm-hmm.
For you, my question is, as you are transitioning in the field of Microsoft and in technology, and you're helping educators come on along, because we are behind the 8 ball in a lot of ways, what would be 3 things that you would say to a new teacher or a middle, and when I say middle age, not their age, but how long they've been teaching, or a seasoned teacher like myself who is looking at retirement? What would you say and say, these are the 3 things that you should start doing in your classroom to continue to improve the education of the students in front of you?
Well, number one, embrace technology. Number 2, specifically, use artificial intelligence to make your life easier, your students' life easier, and to stimulate, to boost efficiency and creativity, which I don't see how those 2 things could ever be bad in an education context. And then 3, innovate,
Mm-hmm.
innovate what you're doing, innovate, just be innovative, try to the extent possible to be as innovative of an educator as you can. Combination of using technology, thinking outside of the box, being creative, doing things differently. Those, I think of Dr. Messina Morris, who was a speaker at BIPOC, who was the director of Morehouse University.
Yes.
And, leading and, essentially a pioneer in that space, with Morehouse and the HBCU and actually being the first out of what's now going to be every school in the nation, including Miami-Dade College just got ours with, I know the founder too, Steve Grubbs, was also a speaker, and he's an awesome guy. And I knew it when they announced Morehouse amongst like the first 5 or 10, and not even a year later, they were at like 50 schools that wanted to, and then now it's just like, how education is contagious. So, and then it's competition too. So it's like, if one's got it, even if we weren't thinking about it, we have to do it because we have to get students to come in.
Right.
And if the deciding factor for a student is going to be Miami-Dade College has a Metaversity, Broward College doesn't, and man, it's about to get sticky because from what I know, Broward College doesn't have one. Broward College is going to have to get one.
Yes. And I showed that video. I don't know whether it was 60 minutes or something. They showed it on YouTube. So they interviewed the doctor you're speaking out, and they interviewed the Morehouse and Spelman students. And I showed it in all of my classes. My kids come in, I was trying to show something that's unusual.
Now every HBCU and the AUC has to do it because Morehouse is doing it.
They were sitting there, and one of my boys turned around. He said, "What college is this?" And I was like, "Morehouse." And we talked about them, and they were like, "Oh, I'm going to Morehouse." Just that 10-minute clip.
Yeah.
My students.
It'll get like, like I said, it's going to be mass adopted, right? Like, especially now that it's been proven successful in a variety of ways, in different ways that just traditional education and even the things you could do that you just can't do in traditional education. A lot of things are possible. And I mean, I saw a demo of students, holding, playing with, throwing the heart back and forth. I mean, and it's pumping and beating, and and this is a real heart. I mean, it's not, but it is.
It is, right.
So it's right. So it's, everything that a real heart would have, it has. I mean, it's just obviously in the virtual space, But I mean, that's when people are like, what do you mean you can do stuff? That's what I mean. You can't throw a heart back and forth in real life, right?
Then I just think about my students who, or even the students I went to school with, I love that section. I love science. I love that section. But I have students like the smell, and they just couldn't do it.
Right.
Now we use it.
Now it's more, it makes education more accessible in a lot of ways. You just, it's a great the example. I don't know if that was coincidental, but that's a great example. But yeah, that is ways when you talk about education in the metaverse, that is one of the main ways that it is impactful, is the accessibility for all students. Not in a way. I mean, it's expensive to have, but meaning to be able to experience.
Right. But I'm just thinking about, I lived in Memphis, St. Jude Hospital is there. Students, of course, who are unable to go into the traditional classroom. But if they could like take one class through the metaverse with a classmate or with a small group, that right there is a lot to their health and just a lot to their learning. And that goes back to us saying, we want all kids to learn, because I believe in school choice. I believe in just what is the best way for this child to learn. Like Montessori, do you need brick and mortar? Do you need the metaverse? Like, what do you need so you can learn? So here's the controversial corner. So every guest that comes on, we talk about something that's in the public, that's in the world, that's a controversy. So I want to stay on this topic of Chat GPT. I said GPS in school, the kids bust out laughing. Chat GPT, AI. The controversy is that, it's going to make the teachers lazy, and it's going to allow the students to cheat, and no one's going to do any more work anymore because the computer will do it for him or her. And now we have to look at plagiarism. I just heard that an author said that somebody plagiarized her entire book on Chat GPT and all of the things. What do you say that is the, because I mean, even when they came out with the internet, and even when they came out with Siri and Google, all of the things, what do you say is the controversy? How do we handle it or deal with it?
So first, I'm going to say I could have easily gone, if you would have gave me the choice, and talked about affirmative action, because I am a UNC Chapel Hill, Carolina grad. So not only, but if you know the two schools of the ruling, I'm a graduate of one of them. So that, when you talk about controversy, for me, goes a level deeper than most.
Yes.
Even those that are passionate about it, again, because I am a University of North Carolina Chapel Hill graduate, which is one of the main.
So what we're going to hold on.
Landmark decision, but
we're going to do that as a bonus. We're going to talk about it.
Okay, but in answer to your question about ChatGPT AI, my response is, everybody calm down. Calm down. Calculator didn't take the math teacher's job. Okay. The typewriter didn't take the book author's job. Chat GPT is not going to take your job unless you let it.
Okay, now.
And by that, I mean, don't become irreplaceable. I say that. Don't get replaced, become irreplaceable. What does an irreplaceable educator look like in 2023 moving forward? An irreplaceable educator looks like an educator who is going to use AI to be more efficient, to not only be more efficient as an educator, but who's also going to use it for their students to be more efficient. Irreplaceable educator is going to be one who uses AI to spark creativity amongst their students. And when it comes to themselves, us as educators, when we get lesson plan, block, writer's block, whatever you want to call it, they're going to use AI. So use it as a tool to empower you in all the things that you were already doing: lesson planning, grades, you know, creative ideas for your students, um, you know, whether that be project ideas, papers, whatever it might be, and use it in all those. You do the same things that you were doing, but just use AI to make you do all those things better, faster, quicker, more efficient. And then it's the same thing with the students. Just chill out, right? They've already been able to cheat with calculators. They've already been able to cheat with cell phones. They've already had all the tools literally right now before AI to be able to cheat on your test, right? Whether it's having the answers folded up on a little piece of paper, whether it's texting them back and forth, whether it's using this mobile device, whether it's using a tablet, whether it's using a calculator, what are y'all freaking out about AI for when there's already all these cheat tools that and tools period that, yeah, calculators make some things obsolete, typewriters make some stuff obsolete, and I get it, but they didn't. This was revolutionary technology, right? People weren't getting replaced, and they're still in education always going to be, fortunately for teachers, the human element. You can't chat bot everything. You just can't do it. You know, and the good things that you can chat and automate, the good things you can is great. Like if you can do your grades, you can tell the chatbot what give it a. I mean, think of the things you can do. That's what I'm saying. Like, what are you freaking out about when now you can prompt and train the chat GPT, the language model, what the rubric is, and copy and paste the papers and just tell it to generate based off of the rubric. You're done.
You better see.
And to think about it, and that's just one example that I thought about at the top of my head. But not only that, like, you still have to have the human element, which means so technically you're not done, but you're done. You know, you got to do that for each student. And then after that, all you got to do is just go back over and make sure you agree. Right? Like whatever, it's like, okay, it got this wrong because it is AI. It's not going to get everything right. But what you'll find is it gets some stuff. It may pick up some stuff you didn't pick up on. Like it may cause you to think in a different way. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on, but like just that right there, like grading paper, because I know I'm educators, like against the rubric and being able to turn that into something that takes minutes. If that doesn't get you as an educator right there, you're making your life easier. You're saving time.
And there it is.
It's not replacing you. It's saving you time. So you can go out and do something else.
So I think you said it several times. Embrace, be innovative. So, and I'm sitting here thinking like, so we've already kind of been using AI or technology. Like
we have been. Anytime you put in a GPU, I mean, no, there's no kind of about it. Anytime you do anything GPS,
all of it.
Calling an Uber, DoorDash, everything, is got
even education. I have
the scooters that people are renting, it's just, we've never used it to solve problems in this way. That's the thing, right? We've never been able to prompt it we've never been able to use it to do whatever, because literally it can do whatever now. That's the thing. And then, so that's why educators are like, oh my God, it can take an entire MCAT, an entire LSAT, an entire test. And that's what's freaking folks out. But, there'll be safeguards in place just like there is from keeping a student from cheating the whole time with a calculator. Like, it's not.
Like, you can only use the calculator on this section of the test.
And don't forget, you can still handwrite.
And if those of us who have not used it yet, start using it for little things. Like I used it the other day. I needed to do a resignation letter.
Lesson plans. Write your emails.
Yes.
Parent communication. Email templates.
Social media.
Grades. Social media posts.
So do
project ideas, paper ideas, paper topics.
Right. Proposals for conferences.
Proposals. Community search, community, student community, like PTA, student community activities, initiatives. I mean, we could just keep going. Like I'm thinking of stuff as we go.
Because
Collaboration ideas for the district, between other schools, between other leaders, and between other like-minded leaders, between other innovative teachers.
And the more you use it, the more it gets to know your voice, and how you write, and it becomes less. I feel like it's less generic. Because I'm sitting here like, okay, school is starting. Those of us who do those back to school newsletter, I don't do that because I'm in middle school. But
GPT, 5 minutes or less.
And then you can look at it, you can change it.
You can literally tell it like, you can literally tell it, and I'm thinking of this, but I mean, this is why I love it. It's like, how can you not love this stuff? Like we're coming, but you can literally tell it, go to this website.
Yes.
And that be your school's website. Based off of the content on the website, create a back to school newsletter for the PTA association or for parents, teachers, whatever your audience. You can customize the length and whatever specs, word count, whatever in your prompt, and press enter. And within seconds, less than a minutes, you will have a newsletter that will literally capture everything that's on your site as far as what's upcoming, what the parents need to be, student announcements, parent announcements, teacher announcements, events,
all of it,
calendar, boom,
done.
And then you could even use AI to create images,
So let's not be afraid. One, let's not be afraid of something you haven't tried. Stop.
And a lot of times we haven't tried it because it takes time and it takes energy. This takes you still have to, so the thing is, it's not going to do anything you don't tell it to do. So the human is still important.
Yes.
Because you have to tell it what to do.
Yes.
But a lot of these things, like, I ain't never have time to do a newsletter. And I don't have time to figure out what pictures. I'm not an artist. I can't, I don't have time to put all that together. But now I do have the time. Now I can do it. Now you can do it. Now any educator can do it.
So come on, we're gonna get on the bandwagon. It's not going anywhere. Let me say that. I want us to understand.
Oh no, it's here.
It's not going anywhere. It's been here and it's evolving like everything else we've done. I remember the typewriter. I remember the phone that you had to go.
Oh yeah.
And then we evolved to Siri call so. Okay. So
that's AI to the fullest right there.
Siri, stop. Because she was about to call somebody.
She was about to see. That's AI. She about to do something for you.
Okay.
And that's where we saw it with personal assistants mainstream. Now we're seeing it with these large language these language learning models. And
we need that. So here we go. We're gonna get to the good part. This is the good part. I love this part because I get to know my guests even more. So back in the day, a concierge was the person that was at the hotel. So you guys would check in. It's a nice, expensive hotel, and you go down and you say, "Look, we're here. I want tickets to a Broadway show. I want tickets to this Michelin star restaurant." Or you can tell me what hotel and what country, what city you're in. But I want you to tell me, where would you go and why would you go there?
I'm going to go to the continent, the African continent. I want to visit Africa because of my roots, my history, family history, which I don't know exactly what part of the continent it ties to, but being African American is somewhere that I've always wanted to visit and in some ways felt obligated to visit the motherland. And so that's definitely on my bucket list sooner than later. I have not been before, so that's why I would, even if I had been, well, yeah, I guess that wouldn't be my answer if I had been, but I haven't been. I've heard great things.
Yes.
I've seen great things on social media, from family and friends, pictures, other images. I've always been intrigued by the continent of Africa, and I hear the women are beautiful over there as well. So, you know, why not? Like, and the food and everything. So why not?
Just everything. And I agree with you. Like as a African American, as a Black American, something in you tells you need to go back. Like if you don't, it's not even a question. Like I need to go back.
Yeah.
It does help when we try and trace our roots a little bit, but sometimes we can't. Like it's just not enough evidence, is not enough paperwork.
Right.
I'm like you, any part of the continent. Thank you for saying that, because as Americans, you know.
Yes. Yes.
As a continent, just stepping foot on a part of the continent, I feel like the ancestors will find me.
Yeah.
They're like, she back. Okay.
Yeah.
We got her. So here she is.
Mm-hmm.
One, thank you so much. Just looking at your resume, because I be
oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
I've always been just intrigued, in admiration of what you're doing the community, from higher ed over to just the community and bringing people into the tech space, from starting where you are, from being from North Carolina.
Yeah.
And being from the true South, because Florida is not the South.
You're gonna get some people mad.
This is my podcast. You are right. It's not, and there's no Floridian that I've spoken to that says we are South. We are Florida.
I mean, it's when you get to parts of northern Florida, especially closer to Georgia, like Tallahassee up there, it is very southern, and those would be the ones who, if they did say something like that, but it's still not the same.
Yes, they know better.
Tallahassee, it's nothing up there, but nothing.
And then even
with the universities.
Right, even my Pensacola folks, because I did live in Pensacola, used to know.
Yeah, but that's even different. I'm talking about Georgia, Florida, Georgia line, Tallahassee. Like that's I'm talking about like
we will take your accent and your cooking, but you still Florida. Okay.
You still Florida,
so, here we go. This is the part that I love, is the closing. I know you're like, girl, why you love the closing? Not because we get to stop talking, but because if you went to an HBCU or you are a member of the Divine Nine,
my state has the most HBCUs though, or that's the biggest though, North Carolina A&T.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I went to school close to a lot of them. So even though I didn't go to one, I went to school close to A&T, North Carolina Central, Shaw,
Elizabeth City,
Fayetteville State.
Yes. And I'm a CIAA baby. So
Elizabeth City State. You know, I mean, we can keep going. So my state is rich with HBCUs. We have, I think, the most. Maybe Georgia's up there, but I think we're number one. And we definitely have the biggest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so you didn't attend the HBCU, but I do.
But I am part of the D9. Yeah, I did.
Any way you want to.
Yeah, I'm part of the D9. I pledged at my school in 2000. Theta Omicron chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated at University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So I'm a proud D9 member.
Okay, so we love the noobs. I'm an AKA, so you know it's all D9 love all the time here.
Yes.
And I know.
Yeah, you got that Crimson and Cream love, so
we do.
I love it. Yeah,
we love.
Yeah.
The AKAs, we love everybody.
Yes, we do.
We'll leave y'all on red though, but but here we go. So I'm a good old country girl from Lawrenceville, Virginia. I went to Little Charlotte Baptist Church on Otterdam Road in Emporia. Shout out to them Eagles, even though we don't really like y'all. But y'all, my cousins. And the church I grew up in, the pastor would have the guest pastor. He's already opened the doors of the church. But your job as my guest here on TEC is to close any way you would like to. But before you close, tell the TEC audience and family how we can connect with you with social media, and then you're going to close us out.
Okay, so you can connect with me on social media actually under my name. I don't go by any, so you can Temante Leary on Instagram, Temante at Twitter. Thankfully, I have a unique name where I can just Temante Leary on LinkedIn. And you can email if you have any questions about anything I shared about BICON, the foundation, the conference, any of the scholarships or programs that we're doing with Fort Geeks. You can email info@byte-con, just like in the title, .org. And I'm gonna leave you actually with the bonus question, which is, with the bonus topic. I'm gonna leave folks with, it was a very disappointing, disheartening decision that made most people feel like a lot of the progress that we have worked for years and decades was immediately taken and taken from us just over a Supreme Court decision. Something that's been on the books for a long time, but with that, I encourage all educators to find ways to keep the student population in the classrooms reflective of a diverse group at each of your respective levels. And then, of course, in higher education, those who are leaders in higher ed, think of creative ways to still allow opportunity and diversity into your institution for, non-HBCUs. But I think this is a great opportunity for HBCUs as well to potentially increase their student enrollment and diversify their campuses. I'll just say that I have already seen people like, celebrities like Charles Barkley changed his will, the day after the decision, to where now he's donating $5 million to his alma mater, which I think is incredible, to allow opportunities for, minority students to attend University of Alabama. Yeah. So we can together, we can move mountains, and, despite any of the challenges that we face, I think if we work together, we can still have the type of education, diversity, and inclusion and access that we desire to have, regardless of the court decision.
Thank you so much for coming on. I know, look, we were like, let's do this time. We got it. Finally, I think it's been like 2 months. I've been like, look, come on the show.
It's been a couple of years. I don't know. It's been a couple of years. It has been. And even this one got rescheduled because I had a meeting, I think, with the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. I think.
Yes, we love them. So we'll take that meeting so we can figure out how to get some more money in the community. Yeah. Yes. So thank you so much for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, thank you for listening. Look, we're going to put everything in the show notes. Stay connected with him on social media. When I say that he is on social media, he's a content creator. So if you want to know what's happening, put the little bell, follow him on LinkedIn. Anything that's happening in South Florida and Miami dealing with tech, this is who you want to follow. Don't follow me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, and we forgot to say that he is an amazing father. Let me shout that out. He's an amazing father, completely involved in his the young kings that he is raising their lives. We were talking about that in the pregame. Y'all know the pregame better than the real show. And I just wanted to shout that out because I know a lot of times people are like, they're absent. He's not. He's very present.
Got a queen too. I didn't mention my baby girl.
Yes. Oh my gosh, please. Because she's
5. She's 5. She's in is it YBTC? What is it? The dance group.
Oh, she's dancing. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you follow him? He does.
But yeah, they're like, it's like the best dance, like pretty much one of the best dance schools. She just had a show And we're gonna, keep her dancing, and so got a princess too.
So we have 3 kings and a queen, and a princess and a queen. The queen is over here.
Yeah.
She's there. She is present. Don't be in his deal.
Yes.
That's professionally, because we don't mess up people's homes. Okay, y'all. I'm serious. They know how I am. Not in your deal professionally. I'm not messing with your house. So here we go. We're gonna end here. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you. I'll see you at the events because I'm coming.
All right. See you there.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.